Hey, it's Big T. Today I am going to tie a micro version of a Pat's rubber legs, trying to imitate the winter stones that are prevalent in our area. And so I'm going to start with a size 18 Big T wide gap dry fly hook. So to put it in perspective, this is going to be your traditional size 10 Pat's rubber leg or girdle bug. So we're going a lot smaller than that. The winter stones tend to be in that really small category. This is a Semperfly. It's a lead-free heavy alloy, 0.23 millimeters. And so I'm gonna first take a little Zap-A-Gap, and I'm just gonna barely dab that on there so I don't stick my hands together. And then I'm gonna take this lead-free wire and make about 8 wraps. I want to have some room up front and behind. And I'm going to squinch this stuff together. Once I've done that, I'm going to take a pair of older scissors I'm not worried about and trim that in piece. That's going to do two things. It's going to add a little bit of weight for us, and then it's also going to help give it a little bit of breadth or width in the body. This is Semperfly's Nano Silk. This is a 30 denier 18-aught in black. If you have not used this, it is phenomenal for smaller dries, and it's super strong for its diameter. I am coming over that wire real loose, just real gentle initially, because I'm trying to get coverage, and that wire is a little bit on the brittle side. I don't want to break it up. Guess I could trim that tag end off at this point. Should be pretty secure by now. All right, and I'm gonna build a little ramp up in front and behind to the wire so that we end up with a smooth body. I'm not gonna use any material on the body. It's just gonna be a straight thread body because it's a really small fly and because we have to work around legs, it just makes it easier. That's exactly what I thought. I had good coverage everywhere, but of course where the camera's gonna show. The side you can't see, which is one thing I like about the Renzetti rotary vices. You do have the ability to move that fly around and different angles, take a look at it. It does take several wraps because of the thin diameter of that thread, but it's worth it. The next material we're going to apply is going to be Hairline's Daddy Long Legs. This is in brown. They're super micro, small little rubber legs. And I'm going to try and get 2 strands and get the tips fairly close together, but I'll be trimming these to length, so I'm not super concerned about that. And I'm also not worried about Obviously you don't want them too short, but I'm usually tying them in longer than I need to be on the safe side. It's just a lot easier to trim them up after the fact. I like to kind of manipulate those in place where I want them and then come down to the back end. On the back end, I typically will and it is easier to trim these a little bit, not work with the longest pieces you have, but I'm stubborn and I'm not gonna do that. Why make it easy when you can enjoy making it hard? All right, once we have these back legs tied in, I'm gonna trim those, and I usually do trim those about the length that I'm looking for, and then I'll come back and trim them long. Again, I err on the longer side because I can always come back with nippers or whatever you might use to cut tippet stream side and use that to knock them back a little bit if you feel like the profile of the bugs that are out there are smaller and what you're fishing is a little bulkier than you want. Make sure I cover up. And again, if some of that brown shows through, it's really probably only going to add to the appeal of the fly. Then I'm going to take a small piece, about roughly 1 inch long to 1.5 of that same daddy long leg material, and I'm going to wrap it around my thread and pinch it with my left hand and come around the fly to secure those in as side legs. And then do the same thing come around, pinch, and then apply that to my side of the fly and make a couple wraps. Peel back those front 2 side legs so that you can now come in and go ahead and wrap that forward close to the eye and come in with a whip finish. I'm only gonna do a 3-turn finish here because I'm gonna come back and hit that with some UV resin. Trim these to length on each side. And again, I'm probably a little longer than I typically would be. But then I'll come back with a little solar res. I'm going to use bone dry on this. I'm trying not to get too much on the legs and coat the top. That'll do a couple things. It'll certainly make the fly a little more durable. Lock in that finish knot. But it also gives that top of the fly a nice little buggy sheen. And so there we go. Big Pats, Little Pats, or girdle bug. I think most people refer to them as girdle bugs. I grew up calling them a Pat's rubber leg. This is a great little winter stonefly pattern, so tie a few up, stick them in your box, and let me know how they fish. for these materials and all of your tying and fly fishing needs, please visit my website, my store, bigtflyfishing.com. And we also have several other fly tying tutorials and on-stream tutorials.